Hello, hello. This is Newbies to Movies. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Justin.
This is a podcast where we like to talk about new movies that we're watching. And this week's theme being the director, Richard Linklater, with the movie specifically that we're going to be talking about this week, Before Sunrise and Boyhood. Probably one of his two more known movies, but he's really known for a lot of different types of films. But first, before we get into that, we're going to talk about some movies that we've watched this week that don't necessarily have to do anything with the theme. So Justin, if you want to go first.
Yeah, talking about Linklater doing some different films. I watched Hitman as well this week with Glenn Powell. Interesting. I texted you right after. I was like, you never know what you're going to get with Linklater. He's kind of does movies all over the place. You think about, Before Sunrise and Boyhood that we're doing this week. Pretty deep philosophical movies, I'd say. A lot of deep themes. And then you go to something like this, it's just a kind of cheesy action movie that's really horny as well.
Yeah, very. Awesome. Yeah. So, I also watched another Linklater. So Before Sunset. So the sequel to Before Sunrise. I'm not going to give any spoilers because Justin hasn't seen it. And since we're going to be specifically talking about Before Sunrise, but I really enjoyed it. I would say I enjoyed the first one a tiny bit more, but I think both are very good at continuing what the story is, just like the dialogue of it. Another movie I watched was Birdman. This was to prepare because at the end of this, we are going to be doing a 2014 movie draft, and this won the Best Picture that year. So I really wanted to check it out because I've heard really good things, and it pleasantly surprised me. I gave it 4.5 stars. Edward Norton plays himself, low-key. Just plays like a crazy asshole. Michael Keaton. It's a super topical movie that I think for that time was like super topical because it's like going after like getting out of like being stereotyped under one character and specifically comic book characters in movies. And I think it's even more topical now with you saw Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans at the Oscars, and now they're coming back this year again as Captain America and Iron Man after trying to get out of being typecasted under those roles. So it's kind of like that, but then it's also going through like this depression arc of like you not even knowing yourself. Stone's also really good in it. Really interesting movie that literally ends the last 4 or 5 words in it is bye bye and fuck you is literally the last line of the movie. I thought it was fun though. It was different.
Yeah, I need to check that one out. I haven't seen it, but I've heard really great things. Me being a superhero guy myself, I've always been intrigued by that. So when you say topical, you mean it's kind of making fun of the genre as a whole, or is it kind of playing into that?
So it's like the main character played like a really big like superhero for much of his career, and that's like what he's kind of known for. But now he's trying to make a play and like trying to be get known for theater, and that he's not just this comic book character type of actor, but he's more, and he's actually a really good actor. So he's like trying to fight through the typecast.
Okay, I see.
Which is funny because he ends up playing literally the Vulture after this movie comes out.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton does. So it's interesting. Cool. And then we're going to play this new game called Plot Thread. So it's like a daily movie connections game. So if you know New York Times games, it's very similar to that, to where like 4 different movies are going to be connected in some way, but it's out of 16. So I'll list all the movies at first, but even though it's going to be a lot. So it's Deadpool, Aquaman, Enola Holmes 2, Dawn of the Dead, Star Trek, Army of the Dead, Poor Things, Lighthouse, Spider-Man No Way Home, Mission Impossible, The A-Team, Man of Steel, Mission Impossible Fallout, 21 Jump Street, Man of U.N.C.L.E., and Dead Poet Society.
So off rip, I think the Mission Impossibles are trying to throw us, as well as Army of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead. Having it being related to zombies, I think that's also trying to throw us, because I don't see anything else that stands out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So you got, this is going to be really hard.
Yeah, this might be, hold on. We're better than this. We've been doing this too long. Let's give ourselves some credit here.
So you got Mission Impossible, Spider-Man, No Way From Home. Try to think like 4 titles maybe.
There's 4 superhero movies. Is that too basic?
Yeah, Deadpool, Aquaman, Spider-Man, No Way From Home,
and Man of Steel.
What's the other one? Oh yeah, try that one.
We might look like idiots here.
Try again.
God,
2 of them are right.
Oh, we're gonna be here for a minute.
Yeah. We only got 5 lives, so
All right.
I
Hold on here.
feel like
Maybe it
Dead Poet
is
Society.
just things with dead in the name. Deadpool, Dawn of the Dead, Army of the Dead, Dead Poets Society. If we get this
There
wrong, I
we
don't know
go.
what to say. Okay.
Yeah, that one's right. Title contains
That one
dead.
felt
Let's
more
go.
basic.
Yeah. Aquaman, Star Trek. Trying to think like Aliens, maybe? But I don't know. No. Because only 2 of them really apply. I have a feeling like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is about the secret society. So is 18. So is Mission Impossible. And so is 21 Jump Street. But it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You can try it.
3 of them, 1 away. Do you think
That's
Mission
rough.
Impossible Fallout?
Instead of maybe 21 Jump Street, because 21 Jump Street is kind of just about drug dealers, right?
Yeah. No. 21
Damn.
Jump Street was with them? What? Which one was that?
Dude, this is rough. We've never
Isn't
played this,
Enola Holmes
so
about like a spy? Isn't he about
yeah,
like a spy?
I think so. I haven't seen it.
Because we
What
know
does Poor
21
Things
Jump
have to do with
Street.
any of these movies? It's such an out there,
That's what I don't know. I don't know.
even The Lighthouse, I'm just,
Yeah, it's like crazy guys, but like, how does that connect to anything else?
it might be stupid too, like all of them contain an actor from a movie they were all in together, or
Yeah.
guess
Like,
that, see what happens.
no. This one?
Yeah.
Dang.
God damn, dude. This is
Wait,
so
William
bad.
Dafoe. You just gave me an idea. William Dafoe, right? So you got
Oh yeah,
Poor Things,
Spider-Man.
Lighthouse, Aquaman, and
Oh,
Spider-Man.
God. We're so bad at this. I was like sitting right in front of me. I
I
was
forgot that
getting
he was an
nerves.
Aquaman. I forgot that he was an
Yeah.
Aquaman.
God, that movie was so bad. All right, let's see here. We can get this. The Man? No. Enola Holmes is throwing me.
So you got Mission Impossible Fallout, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Man of Steel is Henry Cavill.
What else is he in? He's not in the A-Team. He's in Enola Holmes.
He is?
Yeah.
Yep. Bang. We ended up getting it actually. What was this other one? What was Star Trek have to do with those? No wonder why we didn't get that one. Star Trek. Based on a TV show.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But we got it. Only 1 life left, but we got it. Awesome.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Willem Dafoe, I don't think I would have ever put it together, but I knew it had to be like an actor that's in all of them, or yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's barely in it. So like that's why I think I was more so. Like he's in
Yeah.
Aquaman, but he's not like a main guy. But he's also in like 5 movies every year, I feel like.
Even, yeah, Spider-Man, he's not the main villain. Poor Things, he's kind of just the dad. It's not around him,
Yeah.
but he is in it.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, we're doing Linklater this week. One of the more interesting directors when we were first talking about him, comparing like how Hitman was compared to like how some of his other movies are. I just think he likes to have like fun with some of his films. And then some films are like super deep. Because you got like Dazed and Confused, 1993 is one of his first ones that he really gets known for. Then Before Sunrise right after that. And then Suburbia, Newton Boys, Tape, and then School of Rock, which I feel like is just way different than like
Yeah.
Dazed and Confused and Before Sunrise. Bad News Bears, Before Sunset, Bernie with like Jack Black again, and Matthew McConaughey, Before Midnight, so the end of the Before trilogy then, Boyhood, Everybody Wants Some, Apollo 10 and a Half, Hitman, and then Blue Moon this year. And then he has another one coming, and Merrily We Roll Along, but apparently filming is going out until 2040. So he's doing another
Interesting.
long-term, like just filming sequence of a movie, just like he did with Boyhood.
Yeah, I was thinking about with Boyhood, like imagine being his like cinematographer or editor for that. Like I
Yeah.
heard that they filmed 45 days total over 12 years. And so him just being like, hey, I'm going to have you on this job. It requires 2 weeks of work throughout the whole year and you make
Yeah.
good money. It's like, that sounds
Yeah.
like goddamn dream.
Yeah, awesome. You want to start it off with Boyhood?
Yeah. So Boyhood's a little interesting getting into the plot. Obviously, understanding that this movie itself follows the real life growth of Eller Coltrane is the actor's name. Obviously, the cast around him grows in that time too, but specifically, he's the main character. Just kind of follows the joys and pitfalls of growing up, seeing the eyes through Mason's eyes, with his parents being Ethan Hawke playing Mason Sr. and Patricia Arquette, Olivia Evans, and then as well as his sister, Laurelia Linklater, which I'm assuming is Linklater's daughter. And then, yeah, just follows the same cast over 12 years, capturing family meals, road trips, graduations, other important milestones. Obviously, not just the important milestones, the really tough parts of life as well. It was really interesting to see. So I gave it an 8 overall. I thought it was pretty interesting. And I've also read that Linklater kind of just didn't have a story going into this. He kind of just let everybody grow and become who they are in the real world for his movie, which was a little interesting too. I can imagine that's pretty scary as a director going in without any true plot lines.
Yeah. Yeah, because he said he had a basic plot points and the ending, like the final shot he had written out before, but he wrote the script for next year's filming after rewatching the previous year's footage, which you can definitely see the time jumps in each character throughout it,
Hmm.
just like the small subtle things in them. You could tell, like, yeah, they look a year older. It's pretty
Yeah.
easy to tell with a kid like that when it's that drastic. For me, I think a lot of the plot points for me, I just feel like weren't really drawn out or like very
Hmm.
a movie ties wise. Or I still gave it a 7 because I just think it's such a unique thing to do, like actually
Yeah.
film someone over 12 years as they're growing up themselves. But for a lot of it, at least the kid himself, I don't feel like had some of these crazy plot points. But the mom had more so it revolved around her. Like when she first married like the other professor, and then his whole drinking problem situation, probably one of the bigger plot points in the whole movie. And then you see the father actually grow up into like being a real adult, even though his kid is a young age. Like he's clearly not even mature at all. And then like towards the end of the movie, like he's so much more mature and he has his own kid now. Like he has this younger child that he wants to bring up.
Yeah, I think that's a really big part of this movie too, right? Is like it's not really following Mason's direct, how do you say it, like themes and growth. It's more everybody around him, right? We're just seeing it from Mason's eyes as he's trying to understand the world moving around him rather than his world moving.
But yeah. No, I definitely agree. He was definitely more of like a relaxed kid. He wasn't like very into sports or anything like that, which I wonder if that was like what he predicted from the beginning, or if he seemed more like an artsy kid right from like probably 2 years in and then decided to go down that like kind of plot line of him liking photography and really getting into that part of his like sculpture of his life.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of getting into that with the characters, I gave it an 8. I thought everybody was pretty well done. Besides Mason, obviously, I wish there was a little more, but I think that's the point. We're seeing the life grow up around him, not really his life growing. There's not a lot of internal conflict that we have to understand with his character. It's more everybody else's internal conflict, trying to be a good dad, trying to be a good mom, hating your little brother, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely like the hating little brother part where like right at the beginning of the movie, she's just like singing a song to him just to wake him up. And then he hits her with a pillow. And then like the mom comes in and like all she sees is the daughter crying. So she's like, Mason, don't throw things. And it's like she just missed the total like beginning of that. As having a sister can experience very similar things in my life. Just like all throughout growing up, you're like I mean, it's called Boyhood for a reason, right? And I was
Yeah.
just like, man, I could relate to a lot of the like the weird, like nuanced things that's going through this boy's life. I thought was like really interesting to see.
Kind of connecting the plot and the characters. I think if I had one thing to say about this, it came as a younger child, um, 30 minutes shorter and add 30 minutes more of him being in high school. And I think we get a lot more character development from Mason if you do that. It's kind of hard to have any real internal struggle as a kid when you're just excited to go home, play video games, and not do your homework, which that's all we saw for the first 45 minutes of
Yeah,
Mason. So if I had to
yeah,
change one thing about his character itself, I would probably do that.
yeah. Because at the end of the movie, you see like his relationship with his father now, who really has been a part of his life, obviously, but he doesn't live with his father. He's lived with his mom like his whole life. Father's kind of like on the side where they do fun stuff. It'd be more interesting to see more of like relationship with him and his mom, like just conversations that they have, more
Yeah.
than just like him trying to fight against the grain with her being the mom, but rather like the deep conversations that like everyone has with like with their
Yeah, yeah. Cinematography, I gave it a 7. It's really cool to shoot over a 12-year period, and you could tell that, like the surroundings and everything like that look good throughout that. But other than that, no really special shots, no really special camera work. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, the cinematographer is like Linklater has worked with him a good amount. Like he's done Days and Confused, and as well as Before Sunset with them and Before Sunrise. Other than that, he really doesn't work with a lot of other people, and he's Boyhood was his last movie to do. So I think he was just kind of he was like, oh, after filming these people for like 12 years, he's like, all right, I'm gonna take a break. I'm done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a really cool, like fascinating thing, and it sounds like he's doing it again. I don't know what the story really revolves around for his future movie, that's going to be filming through 2040. But I think it's quite a risk of a movie to do, just because like you just really know as an actor you're signing up for that long too, and like you don't know what your life's going to entail. Like, what if like some crazy life situations happen to you and you get like hurt and stuff? Like, it's not you can't really recast. I mean, you could, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Really, anybody in the cast, right? Something comes up
Yeah.
over a 12-year period. As life happens. Yeah, you don't know what could happen.
Yeah, like
And
straight up, like
I
they could
think,
have gotten 8 years in, and the boy co-train could have been like, "I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to be filmed anymore." Like, he could have just grown up not wanting to be part of that life anymore, and then there he goes.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of the reason why maybe the cast was kind of kept so short, right? The main four, which is
Yeah,
the main four in the family and the grandmother. So I guess the terrible way is if anything were to ever happen to any of them, you just kind of explain it away in the plot, which kind of could feel disingenuous at some points. But
yeah, yeah,
you're right. That is a kind of scary fear to have going into making that movie. So for the dialogue, I gave it a 9. I thought the dialogue was really good in this. I think most of the movie is led by mainly dialogue, which I'm sure we'll get into later with Before Sunrise as well. I'd like the quote, how everyone's always saying seize the moment. And then Mason says, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking it's the other way around, like the moment seizes us. And that was right at the end of the movie. I thought that was a really cool way to wrap up and kind of tell the story of that 12-year period for them.
yeah. Because this whole movie is just about those small moments in his life, in his
Hmm.
childhood, as he grows up into being a man, into like college, which is like a total like those 4 years feel like 12 years at some point. Of
Hmm.
college does, and that's what it's supposed to feel like, and you remember a lot of that. Yeah, the dialogue, Linklater's really good at just having back and forth dialogue that feels so natural in a lot of his movies. Like we did Everybody Wants Some, we did Dazed and Confused, and I very similar. The dialogue just feels so like, real. I really like the dad played by Ethan Hawke, where a lot of his dialogue, at first it started with like him giving back to, he's just like that cool parent. Like that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to be that cool dad, giving them just crazy quotes, but like he also just seems like a really interesting guy that thinks life differently than a lot of other people,
Yeah.
which I think Ethan Hawke's really good at doing that under Linklater. All of his roles are really like that. Specifically, like they were talking about, oh, Mason's like, there's no real magic in the world, right? And his dad's like, what do you mean? He's like, no, elves and stuff. People just made that up. And he's like, I don't know, what makes you think that elves are more magical than something like a whale? You know what I mean? Like story about how underneath the ocean, there was this giant sea mammal going on and sang songs as big size as a car, and you could crawl through it. And he's like, I think that's pretty magical. And it's like, there's magical things throughout life that doesn't need to be this, these elves and stuff. I think there's just more fantastical stuff.
Yeah. That was a pretty good quote. And I think Ethan Hawke did really amazing in this too. But kind of like you're talking about with him playing like people who have a very different outlook on life. With Blue Moon, we didn't really get to talk about it. That was pretty great from Ethan Hawke and Linklater as well. And then set design, I gave it a 6. Nothing special. I think you can tell why they kept moving houses so much because they probably didn't have access to the same sets as before. But yeah, nothing special. I think everything fit into the times pretty well. You don't
Yeah.
have to do too
Um,
much here.
yeah. They made it moving around look like like the wife or the mom was really figuring out her life still. That's kind of what where her plot was transformed around, moving around a lot, which was just quite interesting. And then they like from that created like a context of her getting into abusive relationship, which I'm interested since he says that that's like the plot point that he's gonna I wonder if he made that up at the beginning, like that being a crucial plot point in the middle of his life, being around like a father figure that ended up being very abusive, or if that was like something he just decided to make up on the point. It's quite interesting to just like run
Yeah.
through Linklater's mind throughout filming this entire thing.
Yeah, because how often is he sitting there a year after filming saying like, "Oh, maybe I should have done that last year a little differently," but you can't go back and reshoot that, like, it's done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then having to edit it at the same point, like different parts that need to fit the story better, but like you can't add on to those scenes like normal movies can.
Yeah. Kinda getting into that with the acting, I think, he really focused on authenticity, which was pretty cool. I don't think anybody besides Ethan Hawke is, like, a really big time actor in this movie. Really focused on their own lives and their own personal growth to kinda shape the characters. Obviously, what I'm immediately thinking is that the actor that played Mason had a really hard emo phase in his real life, and Linklater was like, "Leave it in."
Yeah.
'Cause he definitely was, but nobody, like, mentioned it or talked about it, so I was just like, "Okay."
Yeah. Nah, he definitely did. Patricia Arquette is a pretty well-known actress, I would like to say. Like, she's been in
Mm,
a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows. I just don't think she's like a mainstream big name, but she
yeah.
did win an Oscar for this role specifically, so like that is something to note as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Ethan Hawke, he still hasn't gotten his flowers for being nominated for or winning an Oscar yet. I think he's due for one the next 5 to 10 years. I think he's just really special. But yeah, the son definitely authenticity, especially with the daughter too. I mean, it's his own daughter, so
I think Ethan Hawke was trying with Blue Moon. I just don't I think it was such a stacked year. Getting into directing, I gave it an 8. I said, "Pretty cool to allow the story to develop, like, really naturally, and allow the actors' actual aging and personal growth." Very low budget approach too, which is kinda cool, especially with such a dialogue-driven movie. Yeah, kinda just insisted on pretty daily life things rather than, like, really dramatic plot twists or crazy plot points going on.
yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely an interesting way to just like plot the whole movie around, and I thought it was very well done for what the scheme of the movie was itself. Because again, like we're saying, I mean, even the soundtrack itself had to be maneuvered in a certain way based off the different years that it was filmed throughout to match what year it was trying to represent over a 12-year span. Like you just have way different music growing up during that time that you want to make a part of that soundtrack to represent the different years.
Yeah, getting into that, I gave this soundtrack a 9. I think it's so important that and I've seen this with a ton of Linklater films, he just never overthinks it. He always looks at it. You there? Sorry, it was
Yeah.
breaking up. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
he always looks at the soundtracks and he just kinda says, "Look, this is what was going on during the time. These were some of the best songs of that time. I'm just gonna use those." He doesn't overthink a big score. He doesn't overthink the specific songs. They're just the ones everybody liked from that time period. We see that with
Yep.
Dazed and Confused as well. Yeah, pretty great every time.
Yeah. Yeah, like, it opens up with "Yellow" by Coldplay, which is, like, one of the most famous songs from, like, the early 2000s, so again, he's just playing right into it. Don't overthink it. Play the music that people wanna hear. Because if you're gonna
Yeah.
focus a whole movie about, like, authenticity of, like, relationships, but just, like, growing up, you don't need to have a crazy soundtrack for it to work.
hmm I think another one was like Soak Up the Sun by Sheryl Crow. Did I hear that one in there? That was a
Yeah, I
pretty
heard
big
that
one in the
one.
early 2000s.
Can't think of what the name of the song that it ended with. That's also the, like, for the trailer,
hmm
but that one I really like as well.
And then themes, I gave it a 9. I thought using the passage of time to kind of form identity in this movie was really unique and creative. Obviously, then, you get into the complexity of family relationships and the significance of just small mundane moments over the grand scheme of life. Cliche quote, I guess you'd say, of just enjoy the little things that everybody always tells you. I really took that away from this movie big time.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I really like the themes in this movie. It's very, very unique set of themes through the passage of it. Because you've seen coming of age films all the time, but never one really done like this, which I think that was like his whole point. He's and Linklater is at the same point like becoming one of my favorite directors. Just the way that his natural way of dialogue and how he expresses his themes through like the characters talking to each other. and like very subtle like things that you can pick up from that.
Yeah, and then editing, I gave it an 8. I mean, pretty great. I guess I did some research here. So they worked on it 3 to 4 weeks annually to cut each year's footage, only connecting it to the previous years later. And then they avoided any major, like structural decisions in the beginning, just to kind of let the film evolve naturally. And then pretty significant technical shifts they had to kind of work around. Obviously, cameras year one are probably pretty different from cameras on year 12, right? So to try to
Yeah.
get those to match up and look still like the same movie towards the end, I'm assuming was quite the challenge itself.
Yeah. Now it's quite interesting also because like looking at like what the editing is going to be for his future movie, Paul Mescal is going to be the lead for that, and then Ben Platt and then Lin-Manuel Miranda. So we just did Paul Mescal last week for After Sun. It's going to be quite interesting to see in that kind of role. I'll just pick up on like my final thought about like not just Boyhood, but like another project that he has similarly where he's working over 12 years of filming. It's going to have Paul Mescal in it. Doesn't plan on coming out till 2040. So by 2040, I'll probably be forgetting about it and then remembering it that year that it's coming out. But the premise of the movie is a composer abandoned his friends and career to become a Hollywood producer. And it's told over the course of 2 decades, but it's going to be told in a reverse chronological order. So I think instead of chronological order, like Boyhood is, instead it's told from being older to younger. So I think it sounds interesting. Sounds different. Again, we probably won't remember it in a couple years, but it's all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Overall, for Boyhood, I gave it an 8.080 out of 100. I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was interesting. I kind of thought that the whole 12-year thing was just going to be a gimmick just for attention, everything like that. But I actually think it was pretty well done. I think the actors were good. And I think the story overall was pretty good as well.
Yeah, I gave it 8.5 out of 10 or 85 out of 100. I really enjoyed this movie as well. Hey, on the same point where you could see it becoming very gimmicky, just doing it 12 years just to do it. But I think letting it flow naturally of the film by Linklater was a really good direction by him and a very impressive like feat for him to do in the first place.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the other Linklater film that we did was Before Sunrise. This came out in 1995. And this really, it's a simple plot, it seems at first, where it just follows these two that meet on a train, one being American and one being a French, and they meet in Vienna. A French woman and an American guy meet on a train in Vienna, and then they get to talking, and you could tell right away there's really good chemistry with them on the train. But they go from the train to where he's like, "You just want to walk around Vienna," and then they just walk around Vienna for for the entire like midday till the next morning, and the chemistry is just crazy. Their conversations are really well done, and like probably in my opinion, my favorite romance movie of all time. Just really well done. Even though the plot seems super simple, it's just so effectively done that I had to give it a 10 out of 10 just because they made such a simple premise done so perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is probably my favorite romantic movie of all time, romantic comedy, I guess you could call it. Yeah, just such an interesting premise. Really taking the whole love at first sight idea really literally and just showing a story of it happening. And I think it's done so well, specifically because the actors' chemistry was so good too. I mean, they really drew my attention in the first 3 minutes of them talking. It was like, oh yeah, like this is going to be interesting. This is going to be good.
Yeah, I don't really know how else to talk about this film other than just talking about the chemistry between Ethan Hawke and Julie Deply as Jesse and Celine. Just like how you can tell like through watching them that like it's like love at first sight between them. Like they're just right away like he's like this quirky like unapologetically him kind of guy that's just gonna pretty much put himself out there, while she's like kind of shy at first and then really opens up and has these like really deep conversations just about life, self-representation, and then also like finding themselves through each other and self-discovery and fulfillment. I thought it was really well done. The characters, I gave a 10 out of 10, just because, I mean, the movie revolves around them. There's really no other side characters. You really get to know about who they are as people without knowing so much about their home life. They give very minuscule parts about their home life, but like what they actually are as people and like what makes their personality, which I think is really effectively done, especially in like a romantic movie.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. We're the viewer is the third wheel, so to say,
Yeah.
on their relationship, right? So we also know nothing about these people that we just met, and to see it just from their conversations strictly was so cool. I mean, the whole film takes place across half a day, maybe a little bit over, and so just to see them kind of talk about their past experiences, their families, their homes, it was really really great, and just having those characters being so well thought out, right, and so deep, but also at the same time you have the surface level caricatures that we can kind of take grounding on and then develop our thoughts on them throughout the movie.
Yeah, really well said. Because it's like they're very young in this, really adventurous. Because like, and especially for Jesse in this, Ethan Hawke's character being like not even like in the same country as where he's from, not even close to it, and getting off this train with this random lady that he knows and just walking around all day with like no money really, because they both
Yeah.
really barely have any money and they're just making their way through the town, just enjoying each other's time really. And then they make money through like different means. But like, yeah. Cinematography, I gave it 9 out of 10. Really good tracking cinematography. We talked about this a couple times in some other movies where they track like them through the entire story, but they're constantly in front of them. As they're talking to each other, the camera's always looking back at them or looking to the side of them if they're sitting down. Again, just being natural flow of conversation that is also fed through the cinematography.
Yeah, no, I agree. Some really beautiful shots. I mean, Austria is a pretty city, so it's kind of hard to mess that up. But yeah, really great tracking shots. It never felt like I was, watching a movie. It just felt like I was sitting in on this conversation this couple was having, which is the best part of it.
Yeah. At some point, like, because I've heard really good reviews about this movie before watching it and just never really found a good time to really sit down and fully watch it through. But then, like, the moment I did, I was locked in for the 2 hours just because it was just so, like, again, like you said, didn't feel like a movie. It felt like I was watching some YouTube video of these two people just talking for hours. And I could watch like 6 hours of this, and this is probably why they made a trilogy off of it, because you could
Yeah.
dialogue. I feel like I could only give it a 10 out of 10. There's so many quotable lines from this, but like Celine has a lot of like deeper ones where she's like, isn't everything we do in life in a way to be loved a little bit more? And then she was like, I like to feel his eyes on me when I look away towards him. And then like the whole poet that they give to the street poet, like that whole scene of it, I really liked that quote as well, like the entire poem. Go check it out because I don't want to read it all right here and right now, but yeah.
Their dialogue was, yeah, just so well done. And I think one of the best parts is they definitely both have a future in poetry if they don't know it. I mean, just their conversations between each other were just so philosophical and deep sometimes. It was so interesting. But then also their characters being their characters, it was also super lighthearted, right? And not taken too seriously, which was the fun aspect of it. You didn't really have to think too much if you didn't want to, or you could really think on what they're saying and
Yeah.
try to understand it better with them.
Yeah, which is also how they were taking the conversation. Sometimes they would really get into it, and sometimes they'd be like, oh, okay. Like a natural conversation would be. Not it would be incredibly hard to have a conversation with somebody that constantly just wants to dig deep into like what you're saying. Sometimes sometimes you just need to like surface level stuff to each other. Yeah. And then like just like the random lines with like ums and stuff within the screenplay itself, I thought was really for its time. Because when I watch older films, you don't hear as much like no, like filler words that are
Mhm.
actually a natural part of real conversations, especially with random strangers that you're just meeting. There's going to be those awkward moments.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. It was really well done.
The acting I gave also a 10 out of 10. These sound like really high scores, but this was like really well done movie.
Yeah.
And then the acting focuses on these two. And Ethan Hawke is now like a pretty famous actor, I would say. But Julie Apply, I would say, is not a very famous actress. This is probably one of her more known roles. But I thought that just the chemistry was off the charts and they were so good together.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how you can just get two people on screen and they click like no other. Like I've never seen anybody truly click like that. Just immediate connection, and yeah, it's kind of leaves me speechless. It's just like it feels so real. It doesn't feel like I'm watching two actors. It just feels like a couple.
Yeah. It always interests me in like all these, like some of the more famous, like like a romantic comedy or romantic movies in general about like when they cast them, like they have to like put them in a room with each other first to make sure,
Yeah.
because that's like the focal point of the movie. If that doesn't work, then like the movie doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
So like shout out to the casting for this movie for really nailing it. So for sound effects, I gave it 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed like the small tones of it. Again, Linklater's kind of known for some of his movies have really good soundtracks because he doesn't overthink it. And I don't think he overthinks it in this, but rather the movie doesn't need to rely on a soundtrack because
Yeah.
again, it's focused on the dialogue rather and them actually talking. There's transition periods where he uses more music, but that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. Um, that and the bar is the other one I can think of, but I think you're exactly right. Again, he didn't overthink it. He just used when he needed to kind of use music to convey plot points. But this movie wasn't one that needed it all the time, which was cool, and especially with such a dialogue driven movie.
Yeah. I will say the sequel to this, so Before Sunset, like the final 15 minutes of the movie, like music is a big point of it. So if you're interested in to like see how that brings into like how that movie concludes, won't give away anything more else. But set design gave it a 9 out of 10. I mean, again, like we said, it's set in Vienna, Austria, beautiful country, one of the top places that I want to visit personally in my life, and especially even more after this movie. Like it makes me even want to like
Yeah.
walk around there just even more and maybe find a French girl at some point in my life.
I was gonna say you're gonna come back and be like, I'm meeting this French girl there 6 months on the
Yeah.
day.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he said he was from Ohio through the movie, and I was like, "Hey, yo, what? I'm not from Ohio, but like I have a lot of family from Ohio, and like a big sub part of me is Ohioan." So like I was like, "What is going on?"
Tyler's sitting over here dreaming at night. That could be me one day. No, really beautiful set. I mean, it looked like the city. I imagine it was as simple as a camera and two actors just walking through the city. So not much you had to do there, but beautiful nonetheless.
Directing gave it 10 out of 10. We talked about it with Boyhood, but he's just becoming one of my more favorite actors. The more like I watch some of his movies, because I just think he really figures out like a way of like human connections and really be able to do that in a natural way to where you're watching a lot of his films and it doesn't feel like you're watching a movie, but you're rather watching people's lives, which I think is really rare to say about a lot of directors.
Yeah, I mean, it says a lot about the screenplay, says a lot about the acting he chooses, says a lot about the dialogue. And also, I just think he's not scared to take risk. Obviously, we talked about Boyhood, how big of a risk that was. But even with this, if I told you, like, I'm going to give you a rom com where there's only two characters and they're just walking around the city for half a day, you'd probably like, be like, why the hell would I watch that? But
Yeah.
it's so intriguing and so well done. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah, because most rom-coms, they like revolve around like big plot points that happen or like big activities that they do to like
And time.
what? Yeah, time. While this one is like within hours of each other, and like the biggest activity they do is ask this random poet to make a poem about them, about like milkshakes. Like that's like the big activity that revolves around them. Other than that, it's just them talking to each other.
Yeah.
Editing, I gave a 9 out of 10. I thought it was, I mean, just like we've been saying with this whole film, but very well edited to where it was like close to a 2 hour film, yet it felt like it was not long enough. Like I wish I
Yeah.
got another hour or two. And just like they wish they had more time.
Yeah, pretty cool to utilize that, right, as a plot point. If you can really get the viewer to keep wanting more, and then your characters want it too, it just fully makes you feel like you're in that world with them, you know?
And yeah. And then lastly, the theme, I gave it 10 out of 10. It's just like the themes were really revolving around like love at first sight, but also like what could be. Because he right at the beginning of the movie, the only reason why he gets her off the train in the first place, he's like, you could look in 10 to 20 years, you're not happy where you are, but like, and you wonder what could have happened with us that connected on this train. Why not take that chance? Like
Yeah.
you'll regret it if you don't. But then they spend the whole night and they fall in love with each other. And then I don't want to give anything away, but there's a reason why a movie was made way later. Like, but
Somebody didn't come
it's like,
for the 6 months.
yes. That should be that should be pretty known if a movie comes out 9 years later. And it's like what could have been,
Yeah.
and that's really what the second movie really hits on, and that's why I think a lot of people love this trilogy because it really hits on like very real plot points about people's lives. Because like even though you may be happy with them, you always have everyone has like a certain interaction, maybe someone in their life, or it could be like the love of their life. And it's really just taking chances while you see them.
Dang, dude, I'm really excited to watch the next one now.
Yeah, this movie definitely hit me on like the hopeless romantic side of my personality, but I also was just like, dang. But like also they're like a little older than their mid-20s at this point in their life. So it's like you
Yeah.
just never know when it's gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
So overall, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10 or 95 out of 100. Very high rating, but again, it's a 5-star film for me and my favorite romance film of all time.
Tyler, have you seen the third one yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. Save it. We'll watch it together. We'll get cuddled up because I gave it a 9.5 out of 10 as well. We're like wavelengthing this thing. Tyler, what would have happened if we met earlier?
Yeah, the second one for me is I would slightly lower rated than this one, but not much. I want to watch the third one just to finish it off.
I'm
But
going
yeah,
to come to
this
you with
movie
the
was
score for the second one. If we get the same thing on the second one, we're watching the third one together. I'll watch it on FaceTime. Fall asleep on
Yeah.
FaceTime with you.
Sounds like a plan. I saw this movie recommended to me so many times now, and I finally checked it out, and I'm glad because this movie is really good. Highly recommend
Yeah,
it to anyone out there.
though I would too. And I mean, romantic comedy's not my kind of thing. I know we did that on the show a couple of weeks ago. Did you take this in the romantic comedy draft?
No, because I didn't see it yet.
Oh, okay, you hadn't seen it yet. Yeah, dang. Somebody's going to see that on TikTok or Instagram and be like, how did they miss the best one ever?
Yeah, it's just really special. Awesome. So yeah, that concludes like us talking about Linklater movies in general. I feel like we haven't seen enough to properly like rank his movies of all time. I feel like we still got some more to get through to be able to properly do that, but I'm looking forward to it. He's probably going to do, because in between Boyhood, he did a bunch of movies as well. So I'm sure
Yeah.
in between this and the 12-year movie, he's going to do a bunch of different movies, especially if Netflix keeps hiring him to do stuff. Cool. Next, what we're going to do instead is we're going to do a movie draft of a year. So 2014 is the year that we chose. It's the year that Boyhood came out. So we're like, let's orient it around that at least. But somehow last week in our Oscar snub draft, we also chose 2014 like 6 times somehow, or like 4. It'd be interesting to talk about the year. I think the year in general. So from comparison, I went through Letterboxd to see how many movies I saw that year, and I saw 65 that year, which sounds like a lot. I would say about like 20 of those I haven't resurfaced or would never watch again. Well, like I think about 25 of them I would rewatch at some point, or I don't know about I would probably recommend about 15 of them. The other ones I just personally like certain plot points of it, but I thought it was an all right year.
Yeah, I haven't seen as many as I thought I had from this time period. What, middle school, going into high school?
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of like more children's style movies, but definitely need to go back. There's a couple from this year that I haven't seen yet, which I'm not going to give away because that'll give you the upper hand. But
yeah. I think a good comic book year too. Looking at the comic book movies, this is like peak Marvel, getting right into like, I would say 2014 to 2019 is where peak Marvel is, and they're busting out some crazy good movies because you got the risk of one of the movies that I'm sure we'll pick. I'd be surprised if we did.
Yeah. But I guess part of the problem with that in that time period, right, is you had other studios trying to mimic it. And that's where you get a lot of things that didn't do too hot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the best picture for this year ends up like kind of mimicking it, but mimicking like or mocking, I would say, a little bit of like actors going into like being comic book characters. And that's all they're really known for, which some get out of and some don't.
Yeah.
So the categories for this draft will be box office over 150 million. I honestly should have bumped that up by a bunch. This is like when box office was doing really well. But
yeah.
Oscar nominated, drama, comedy animated, action horror, wild card, and then a didn't age well category, meaning like that movie did not age well. It could have just came out that year and been really bad, probably the case, but also it looks even worse now.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll spin for who gets to pick first. Dang, I'm on fire with this. I get to pick first. This is actually hard. I'm not going to lie. For a first pick. I feel like a second pick, it kind of gives you what you're going to pick for your second.
Yeah, I think so.
And I just have to go with what I rate higher, which just sucks because like, I just don't know. Because like, it's a toss up of how I'm feeling that day, which one I want to watch more. But I'm going to go with what I just genuinely think is slightly a better film. And I'm going to go with Whiplash and drama.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought you had between the two.
Yeah. Whiplash stars Miles Teller, J.K. Simmons as like a mentor, and then turned into like a villain like role. Damien Chazelle's like first feature film that he makes. So he has a short film based around this that he makes like 2 years prior, and then he makes his first feature film this, and then La La Land right after this. Whiplash is insanely good. If you haven't seen it, stop what you're doing right now and go watch it, because that movie will make you just feel something, because it's just insanely well done. Miles Teller is also really good, and he could still drum today like really well just based off of what he trained for that movie. I've seen him like just do drums for like a band last week. I saw like something on like Instagram, like he just decided to pull up to a pub and was like, "Hey, can I be your drummer?" And they just let him. And I was like, "Heck yeah."
Just having that in your bag is so wild.
Yeah.
It's like I know both themes about obsession, but if I just was like at a pool bar and Timmy showed up and he was just like, "Hey, you want to play ping pong?" I'd be like,
Yeah.
"No, no, I'm not playing that."
Yeah. I'm not playing him in ping pong.
Just like, yeah, thinking about like these movies of like where people obsess over things is so funny. Like they got that in their
Yeah.
bag. It's like, how often do they really use it? All right, I'm gonna go the clear one or two, 1A, 1B here, I guess. I'm going to take Interstellar for box office over 150. What a great movie. Personally, I think we both got our pick here. I would choose Interstellar over Whiplash, but just barely.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy that fell to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I said, I was like, I think whoever gets the first is going to decide it for the other, but it's really like just depending on what you're feeling for that day.
Yeah.
Because Whiplash is going to make you be like, oh, wow, like that guy's insane for pushing himself that hard, but he ended up getting the goal he wanted, while Interstellar may give you an existential crisis.
And then I'm going to take my favorite Marvel movie to date, and I'm going to take Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Awesome. And what category?
I'm going to take an action horror. Yeah, definitely the best one. Best Captain America movie, I'll say. Just so well done, right? You're coming off of Bucky being so-called passed away, and then kind of forming that into Captain America's enemy for that. But there's so many enemies going on in that movie, so many different like plot lines. Yeah, it's just really well done. Amazing action shots. You have the whole themes of Captain America questioning the government, which is like a huge thing in the comic books. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like Captain America, the Winter Soldier as well. Well done. All right. So I'm going to go. So for Oscar nom, are we going to do just it was nominated for an Oscar and then we'll leave it at that? But the
Yeah, I
movie
think so.
itself? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Oscar nom, and with my third favorite movie of this year. So right behind Interstellar, Whiplash, and that would be Gone Girl. I really like Gone Girl. Ben Affleck, Rosamund Pike. Rosamund Pike, can't remember actually. Does she win this year? Let me look it up real quick for her best actress performance, but she is insanely well done in this movie. It's like a murder mystery. And that's all I'm going to leave it at, because we're still doing it on the podcast. And I definitely don't want to give away what happens, because yeah, it's David Fincher movie. So you can imagine, but yeah, David Fincher is so good in this. So she was nominated, but she did not win. She lost to Julianne Moore, but yeah, Gone Girl was so good.
Cool.
And then for my next one, I have to go to my phone real quick just to look at my letterbox, what I have rated higher. 1 second. I'm reeling real quick.
No problem.
Could have definitely switched this up, but it's all right. So I'm going to go a little out of left field for this, because I think I messed up my categories a little bit, but it will all work out. I'm going with Wild Card already, and I'm going to go with Birdman.
Yeah, I just haven't seen it, so I don't feel like I can take it.
Yeah. My fourth highest rated movie of the year for this one. So I just saw it literally like this morning, and like last night, like continued it, and such an interesting movie that still really talking about conversation today about like how big actors who get into these Marvel type of movies or DC kind of movies and then get typecasted from that. And then this main character, Michael Keaton, plays is trying to get out of it. Really, really fun movie too. Really good performances.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to take Nightcrawler and drama. Yeah, really great film. This movie had me messed up a little bit after I watched it. Like you talked about last week, Gyllenhaal definitely should have been nominated for this. Yeah, it was just crazy. He seemed so crazy in this movie. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I was trying to find space for this because I had it under action or horror. But yeah,
Hmm.
it'll fit into drama just fine. Now let me see. I'll go ahead and take my Oscar nom. I'll just take Boyhood,
Boyhood.
which we talked about. Easy one for me there.
Cool. So box office over 150. I have to go with like a top 5 Marvel movie for me at this point. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna take Guardians of the Galaxy for box
Yeah.
office over one. This is the movie I was referring to that took a big risk as far as like what Marvel was doing at that point, the MCU. Because they were doing like big characters, and then like Guardians of the Galaxy. I remember when it first came out, like around 12, 13, I was like, "What? I never heard of these characters before." And then you go watch the movie, and it's like the most fun movie you've ever watched. It was like
Yeah.
such a fun time. The soundtrack's insane, and then just like I'm pretty sure I rewatched this movie that year like 10 times because of how much I like
Yeah.
enjoyed watching it. It was so fun, and then like made me want to. I'm big into comic books, so it made me go out and get comic books of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Star Lord. So.
Yeah. Super good film and set off such an amazing trilogy too.
So next, I'm gonna take for comedy and animated for me is like one of the smaller categories.
Yeah.
That I just don't. I think, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's not that deep. Well, I think action and horror kind of is a little bit deeper for me, but I feel like I just gotta go with my gut. I'm gonna take Fury and action horror.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I really like Fury. Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, John
That
Bernthal,
came
the guy
out
that,
this year?
yeah, John
Shit. I
Bernthal,
missed
the guy that doesn't like naps for some reason. Michael Pena, yeah, really good movie. Kind of depressed. Logan Lerman. I don't know what happened to Logan Lerman, but he was on a crazy run there for a second, and then I really haven't seen him for the last 5 years.
That movie didn't get nominated for anything?
Yeah, it's insane.
It was so good. Okay, my turn.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to look like a weirdo, but I'm going to take the Lego movie again. I'm going to take it for comedy and animated. I really like that one. Comedy really holds up. I think it's really funny for both. I think a masterpiece animation movie is one that can make kids laugh and make the parents laugh, right? Because you're trying to get money. And so you're trying to get whole families to come into the theater. And if you can do that, then you're going to win the box office. And they definitely did. And I think the second one sucked, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember really liking this when it came out.
And for my wild card, I'm going to take Snowpiercer just because I want to take Chris Evans twice.
Yeah, you're like big Chris Evans guy here.
Well, I'm just trying to show you, Mr. Birdman, that an actor can get outside of their superhero roots.
Give me 1 second.
They're good.
Just because on Letterboxd it says 2013, but I'm trying to look at Wikipedia, like actual release date in the U.S.
Oh, I might have got screwed.
Okay,
It was
stick with me here. Release dates for Times Square, South Korea, and France were in 2013, but 27 June 2014 in the United States. But then 2016 in the Czech Republic.
Wait a second. What is going on here?
Okay.
How does that work? All right. Well, I don't live in Times Square, so 2020.
Yeah. I would count it just because it did come out until film festivals in 2014.
Okay. Yeah.
So I would count it.
That's odd. I guess being a foreign film, mainly, it's going to be a weird, but yeah. So I'll take Snowpiercer. I really enjoy that one.
Yeah.
That was a early on movie that I watched that I was like kind of sitting there. I was like, well, these movies are deeper than just action and fighting. Like you can find some really deep storylines in movies.
Yeah. I feel like I haven't seen this in a while, so I don't really remember all the plot points to this. I just remember like the food that they're eating was not what they expected. That's all I really remember.
It's after watching more Bong Joon-ho, I realized that this movie is just the same as his Korean ones. It's like class systems kind of throughout a train.
Yeah. That dude loves his class systems. I mean, fair enough. Like that's the Korean culture, so like that's really what it's around. All right, for comedy animated, again, I think it's a very limited category. I think it was really just up to 2 for me. Big Hero 6. I'm gonna take it there. There's like some interesting comedies, but like they didn't hit for me as much as you would think. Like a lot of them, I was like, they're funny, but like they're nothing like crazy.
Like The Interview, right?
Yeah, which we could talk about after we conclude the draft. Like all these weird comedies that came out that year.
Yeah, hold on. We don't have didn't age well.
Yeah, exactly. Big Hero 6, I really like that film. I don't really remember all that much. Just like the Lego movie, I remember liking both of them, but I haven't resurfaced either of them.
Yeah. Baymax. Cool,
So
cool.
didn't age well. I feel like there's a lot of options to go down on this, just looking at some of these movies. And the thing about or like comedy movies is that like it doesn't need to age well. That's like the point of
Yeah.
comedy. So like I don't want to go down the cheap route and choose a comedy movie. So instead, I'm going to choose a horror movie, Tusk, which I don't think you've seen this, Justin, but this movie is weird. It follows Jonathan Long, and straight up the movie revolves around him turning into a walrus. Not him like transforming. Like he goes into this like serial killer, this psychopath's like house who literally makes a human walrus. Yeah. And then the movie literally ends with his friends feeding him in a zoo. I kid you not. I can't make this up.
Like, what's like a theme you got out of this?
Don't go into a stranger's house that you don't, especially in billionaires. Don't go in strangers' houses.
Don't be the walrus.
Yeah, it's nasty,
John
but then also
Lennon.
like, what did he do to turn into that? What did he do to you? You just wanted to turn this guy into a walrus because you could.
Did they end the movie with the Beatles song "I Am the Walrus"?
I don't remember, man. I just
Real missed opportunity there if they didn't. That's a really funny song.
don't recommend this movie. Just wow, weird movie. Did not age well.
I'm going to take a little bit of a different route, kind of in the grand scheme of comic book movies and what was going on that year. Marvel hitting the ball out of the park with Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain America the Winter Soldier. Even Fox keeping up that year with X-Men Days of Future Past. Sony could not keep up, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out that year, which really crashed, forced them into a shared agreement with Marvel to get our new Spider-Man, Tom Holland. I think Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was decently good in this movie. Same in this first one. I just think the supporting cast and the overall screenplay was just written really poorly for this movie.
Yeah, horrible choice to play Harry Osborn. Not even close to like. He just not a big fan of that guy. Actually, in Chronicle, he's pretty good. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but like
no, but I know about it.
Yeah, but he does not give off Harry Osborn vibes. I love Jamie Foxx. He's in one of my favorite movies of all time, but holy crap, was he bad in this movie too?
It's like that same stereotype from Hitman where they just put the glasses on like the attractive guy to make him like.
Yeah, and they made him have like wide teeth, and then like, oh, he gets electrocuted, and all of a sudden he's this really attractive like dude that has crazy powers. It's like, okay.
I think, you know, what happens when you make these comic book movies, comic books are typically pretty short stories. And so you grab so many comic books and you try to put them into one movie, and it can just get to be a lot, especially, you know, you're handling something like the death of Gwen Stacy and all that going on around it is just, too much going on.
Yeah. I mean, you kill off Emma Stone in a movie. It's like, you don't got me locked in.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Let's do our teams, and then we can talk about 2014, especially the comedies a little bit more.
Yeah.
So my team, box office over 150 million, Guardians of the Galaxy, Oscar nom, Gone Girl, drama, Whiplash, comedy animated, Big Hero 6, action horror, Fury, wild card, Birdman, and didn't age well, Tusk.
Box office, I had Interstellar. Oscar nom, I had Boyhood. Drama, I had Nightcrawler. Comedy animated, I had the Lego Movie. Action horror, I had Captain America the Winter Soldier. Wild card, I had Snowpiercer. And didn't age well, I had The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
So yeah, before we do the honorable mentions, the comedies that come from this year that I've seen and that I just have listed down. So you got 22 Jump Street, Neighbors, The Other Woman, Horrible Bosses 2, Haunted House 2, and The Interview. And then you got Ride Along, Blended, Dumb and Dumber 2, and then Tammy. Like what?
Yeah.
They were just blending out every comedy movie that year, I guess. They're just like, yep, you want a comedy movie? You got it.
It's definitely that time period for that style too. Like really like real life events just made super goofed up.
Yeah, somehow 22 Jump Street's the best one out of those, in my opinion. So,
yeah.
Somehow.
Go ahead.
Night in Museum. Night in Museum.
One that we definitely didn't draft, people might be wondering about, is Grand Budapest Hotel. I'm personally just not a fan of it. I'm a fan of Wes Anderson, just not one of my favorites of his. if I remember correctly, you're not a big fan of that one either.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen Grand
Okay.
Budapest, but I'm just not a big Wes Anderson guy, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably one of the bigger ones that people are gonna be like, "What?" But
And I'd
yeah,
say Days of Future Past too. That's probably the best X-Men movie, not counting Deadpool, just
yeah.
total X-Men movie. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the best one. And Ex Machina was a big one too. And Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Ex Machina came out that year?
Yeah,
Are you sure?
the 2014 one. Yeah.
God, why did I not have that?
No, it told me 2014, but now it's saying release date 2015. I don't know, dude. What is up with me tonight? How am I finding these like weird ones?
Yeah, yeah, because it released on like a film festival in December, but then it
Oh,
actually got released in the United States in 2015. I was about to say, I was like, dude, I
okay,
love Ex
maybe.
Machina. I would have definitely drafted that movie.
Oh, released in South Bank, London, 2014.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. I'll go through some of my honorable mentions.
Yeah, yeah,
Box office over 150 million. X-Men Days of Future Past. I actually really like that film.
yeah,
I I was pretty close to picking Guardians of the Galaxy just because, like, I'm not gonna lie, I probably rewatch both just as much because I think it's a really well done story arc of the comic book, and it's one of my
yeah.
favorite comic books. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes as well, really good sequel for that trilogy. Um, and then Oscar nom, I had Foxcatcher. Steve Carell got nominated for that. It's a wrestling movie about like the Foxcatcher, like just stuff went down there that was really weird. Fun fact, my dad got invited to that camp actually, and he's so glad that he didn't go because some really weird stuff went down there. And then also like, yeah,
I'll have to check that
drama,
out.
all of them were drafted. One comedy I would like to point out, That Awkward Moment. It has Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, and Zac Efron as like these three guys in like their 20s living in a house together, figuring out their love life. And it's actually
Yeah,
really funny. And like all three of those actors I really like. So I really like it. Shout
yeah.
out Michael B. Jordan. And then action horror, one of my favorite horror movies, but like I had to choose between that or Fury, and I just chose Fury just for the moment. It Follows, really interesting horror movie that kind of follows like going down the route of like STDs, but like in the form of like actual like scary creature. I don't know. It's quite an interesting watch. And then
The Herbst
John
Team
Wick,
Alive.
pretty much.
Nice.
John Wick too, which like some people love those that like those movies. I'm okay on the movies. I think the movies are just okay.
Yeah,
Um, Another wild card, Still Alice. Julianne Moore playing a woman that gets dementia, and as she loses herself, like her family revolves around her. So Above, So Below, another horror movie. Creep, another horror movie. And then Kingsman, another really popular movie from that year that we didn't pick.
yeah. The first one was pretty good. I think the second
Yeah.
one came out that year, right?
No, I
Or was
think
that
that
the
was the
first one?
first one.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for listening to this podcast, and see you guys next week.
So yeah.